What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. It's good to see you again. Now, I know it's been a little while since we posted, but we've been traveling to many horse shows lately, and we've got two big ones coming up, Tulsa and then the High Roller Classic, Reining Classic in Las Vegas. So really looking forward to go to that, and I will keep you guys updated on how we're preparing the horses for those events. But in the past month, I've received many questions and many videos from subscribers asking me how I can help them in this situation or with this situation, and we're going to address each of those topics, which I find fascinating and I think that are going to benefit everyone, and we're going to address them individually in the next weeks or so. But what I found is a common theme among all of the problem, and we just came off talking about pressure and steering, and pressure release training is what we talked in the last video. And pressure release training is basically teaching the horse how to react to pressure and how to tolerate pressure, because it's going to be very important throughout the riding period or the training period, trying to get ready for a horse show or whatever you're trying to do with your horse. If you apply any pressure to the rib cage, to the neck, to the face, to the rein, wherever, if you're meeting resistance, then how to deal with that resistance is what's going to be very important. But basically, the most common problem that I see people having with their horses when dealing with pressure release work is going to be the brace. So horses bracing against something, whether it's while transitioning from fast to slow or vice versa, or just a sudden change in movement. There are so many situations that causes the horse to brace against what the rider is asking, and this is what results in faulty maneuver or a horse just basically doing something really wrong. And so I want to make today's video about horses bracing. I'm going to walk you through all of the steps that I do in order to keep my horses from bracing. And there are many exercises on the Comfort Zone Horse Training video series that you can right now access and see all of the breakdown of all the exercises that I use in order to make my horses bracing free and really ultimate body control and very soft in the neck and the body. But there are situations where I have to deal with a high level of brace, and this is where it gets really challenging. So I'm going to show you a few of these horses, and we're going to work through those problems together and see if it can help you with your horse down the line. So here we've got Bruce ready, and we're going to work with Bruce on some of the things. And the reason that I chose Bruce to working on the brace in various areas is because Bruce is a spook scattergun. So this breeding have produced very nice horses over the years, but most of the ones that I've had can be quite bracy when they get scared or they get tense. And they are sort of naturally a little bit tight in the body, so it requires a lot of work to really get them softened up. And I have a lot of work into Bruce over the last year and a half, and so he's very trainable, but that doesn't change the horse that he is. That is a very naturally bracy horse. And over the time and over the years that I videoed Bruce, every time I realized that, and I may not have felt that quite as much as seeing it on video, but from when I start the session to when I end, the drastic change in the horse is really impressive. And that comes from him really understanding the exercises that we're working and trusting me and really giving himself and working really hard to allow himself to relax despite the adrenaline levels rising through through the maneuvers and through the intense training exercises that we do. So with that said, I feel that Bruce is going to be one of the best candidates to really demonstrate the differences and the benefit of the exercises that I work on with a horse like that. Now, for those of you who are wondering why I have him tied like that, and that's a little something that I always try to take the opportunity to show a lot of little details of the things that I do around the barn here to keep my horses safe. But I find that a lot of the times I see people tying their horses in the stall with a very long lead rope, something that if they kind of fool around or jump around, they could get their leg caught into the lead rope easily, and this is something I really want to avoid at all costs. So in order to avoid that, I like to put the lead rope right here through the front of the halter, tie it together, and then have quite a short, not uncomfortable, but keep his head quite level, and have a short lead rope there to make sure that he's safe. Now, I really wish, and I keep thinking about inventing something that would allow us to easily tie our horses this way without having to take a lead rope through the halter, which is kind of sometimes cumbersome. So if any of you guys are really good at at engineering and stuff like that, and you can think of a way to do that, then let me know. We'd love to put that together and put that on the market, because I think it'd be valuable. Something that's quick release would be ideal. Anyway, so a little bit about that. Now, but before we take Bruce, I'm going to go over to the other barn, and we're going to go and grab one of the 2-year-olds that came into training very recently. And this horse is quite fractious, very scared. And so, so every chance he gets, he braces. And it's not intentional. It's just literally his reactions. So it's going to be very important early on to deal with that in order to make this horse really trust us and handle various types of pressure without getting me hurt or without getting himself hurt. So let's go and take him to the round pen real quick and show you a few of the things that I like to do on the ground with such horses that some of you may relate to a little bit more than the training we will do with Bruce, and then we'll follow that up with taking Bruce in the arena and working with him. So let's do this. So this is the 2-year-old barn. This is where I keep most of my young horses. I really like this barn because it's wide open. The horses can see each other and it's good for them. And the colt that I'm about to go and grab is a horse that just came into training, and this horse is really fractious, so a lot of really intense reactions to very little things. And I think that if I would just give him any reason for it, he would get the heck out of Dodge. And so I've just started climbing on him, and we're working a lot of fail-safes and a lot of various exercises that helps him develop trust between he and I. But I thought that it would be good to take him out there and show you a few of those exercises that I like to do with this type of horse before I actually start getting on them and training in the arena. And so groundwork is very important. There are many very, very good programs on groundwork out there that I fully support and actually learn from. But the few little things that I want to discuss or I want to visit with you guys on this colt today are some of my own personal touch. So let's take him to the round pen, show you a few things that I like to make sure that I can do and handle very easily on my young horses, to make sure that they understand that they are safe with me, they can trust me, but they better listen. So let's do it. Okay, so we're not going to spend too much time in here or do too much. It's quite hot and it's not very well ventilated in the round pen, so we're going to just not do too much. But what I want to just show you is the few little things that I like to do early on to really test the type of brace that the horses have in them, and most horses are naturally born with, with that. We are too. Whenever we spook at something or get scared of something, our reaction is to tense up against in protection of what scared us. And so it's the same thing with horses. Some are just way more mellow than others, and others are way more reactive to very little things. And so those can become some of the softest and most trainable horses, but the ones that just resist against you often are the ones that are going to be a little bit more problematic. But this one is not the type of horse that will resist against you, but it's the type of horse that will get scared and tense up and want to get out of Dodge. And so the things that I like to do with my young horses to test how they are, so first thing is I like to see if I can control their head by just kind of applying downward pressure like this and see what they do. And at the beginning, their first instinct is going to be to pull against me, okay? Pull up because there's pressure down. So this is a very good test, because when a horse can lower its head like that in the same position that he is when he's actually eating, when he's eating, he's not scared of anything, he's not bracing against anything, so then he's allowing his neck to really relax and lean against that ligament that they have in the wither that allows them to do that for a long period of time without getting tired, okay? So horses, when they lower their head, they are feeling confident. And so this is not my goal to just have this horse put his head down, but I just want to know that I can if I ask for it, and I want to see and once I'm able to do it, and this is the trick, okay? So once I've worked it, and with him I've worked it a little bit, and once I can apply some pressure and just soften up his neck and have him put his head down, most of the horses that have that are a little bit more scared or more anxious, when they finally give, as soon as you release and you stand up, they're gonna stand right up again, And so this is where it gets interesting for me. I want to be able to get to where I'm just going to lower my horse's head and drop it and stand up and pet him, and he stays there, okay? And if I can have him lick his lips, that's even better. Now I'm talking, maybe a little unusual to him, but this is perfect because this allows me to work on it. So whenever he puts his head down like that and I can come up here and pet him, I know that he trusts me fully, okay? So this may be a very basic and random explanation and demonstration, but it's really at the foundation of everything that we're trying to do when training our horses to really use their body the proper way and be really relaxed while their level of adrenaline is as high as it can be, okay? So this is something that I want to be able to do with all my horses. When it's done, it's not something that I do constantly or work on. It's just something that I want to be able to do from the start. And so the horses that are quite bracy against it and that, you know, just really don't get it and push against you, you don't want to be forcing them. So you just kind of want to take your time and develop it. But the exercise that I like to do to test that and to take my test to another level is to test their kind of their flight instinct and see how strong it is. So what I like to do with my young horses, and I've explained this in a couple videos, you may have already seen this, very important to keep leaning back and not have your head towards the horse's head so that you don't get hit in the face if they overreact to that. And so what I want to do is I want to just kind of manhandle this horse's head a little bit and just to see his reaction to that. And usually once I do that the first time, these horses, their eyes go really wide and they're looking at me like, what are you going to do, rip my head off? And then what I do is I utilize a technique that is just like left and right motion like this as I apply downward pressure on the halter. So I'm not pulling towards me and I'm not forcing him down. I'm just applying light pressure downward and moving his head left and right. This is making his entire body rock left and right. And what it's doing is that when a horse is really scared or tense, his energy is scattered all over his muscles and it's really tightening up. Everything is active. It's like you flip the switch on and everything's go, whoa, I'm resisting. I'm concerned. But if you can get the horse to really allow that energy to align back into balance, straighten up, and just really lower its head, lick his lips, and be relaxed around you, handling him that way, then you know that you're a step ahead to being able to train on this horse, okay? So I'm gonna increase the pressure and just increase the movement, increase the pressure downward just to test him, see if I can get him to kind of get scared of me. And when I did this the first time, I promise you that this horse really did not like that at all, and that really scared him. And it's normal. It would scare me too if someone grabbed me that way and did that with me. But if you don't justify that brace, if you don't justify that reaction, eventually, stay with me, eventually you're going to get rid of that brace, okay? So this simple exercise and this simple demonstration is just to put into perspective that everything we do, this is why we do a lot of transition left and right, a lot of softening, a lot of transitions in order to get our horses to really allow themselves to relax and control their body energy while under pressure, okay? So very simple exercise. I want to be able to come up here and just do this and get control over their body energy, okay? So this is a horse that just came into training, so we just started working on all of this stuff, but eventually I want to be able to do this and I want to have him stand still and I want to be able to saddle him up with the lead rope on the ground without him moving, okay? So this is something that, again, you can find on Comfort Zone Horse Training video series, and it's something that I can get into more in depth if you would like to see this, okay? So these are two things that right now this horse is starting to respond pretty well and is going to be laying the foundation to the training that is going to be coming his way in the next year or two, okay? Okay, so the flexions is another thing that I want to be able to do with my horses. So I really like that he's moving his feet when I'm asking. He's not running away from me and he's not resisting me. He was just doing what he thought that he should. The part that I'm going to be using this flexion for is going to be once I step on him, I'm going to use this flexion as a safety, as a bend to a stop. And a lot of people know this method. This is a very safe method to teach horses that are a little bit like him, feely and fractious and want to buck or want to run off, and you want to play it safe. The way that I like to play it safe, and is you just make these flexions very solid into the horse. But once you have this flexion, then the goal is to, here. Okay, so I did something different. I jumped, I did something fast, and nothing changed into this horse, okay? So this is makes me very happy. I hadn't worked with him in a few days, and we just come out here. just throw that all at him, and I think that he's responding very well. So this is not the kind of stuff that I was able to do with this horse 2 to 3 weeks ago. He's responding very well to all of that. So we'll be seeing this horse more in future videos, because this is the perfect type of horse in order to really be able to demonstrate what it is that I'm after. So let's get on Bruce and let's get to training.